Hey, good morning. Thanks for joining me. If you don't know who I am, my name is Earl, and I like to walk through nature or on the beach and talk about recovery topics. So come join me. Today I'm on this nice paved nature trail at Tomoka State Park in Ormond Beach. I'm here on a Wednesday, and I think I've got the trail to myself. I'm not sure, but it's beautiful. It's all paved, as you can see behind me there, and just as natural surroundings as you can imagine. I mean, it's beautiful. I find that whenever I'm in nature or walking the beach or anything along those lines, I am somehow close to God. I'm feeling the spiritual realm, without all the craziness of society, if you will. So it gets me in that mode of, first of all, connection with God. And second of all, the whole thought of recovery and self-improvement. So I was listening to a podcast this morning, and the woman was talking about how society has normalized alcohol use, and how it's just something that is not only accepted, but it's also like the only drug out there, and it is a drug. It's the only drug that you have to justify not doing it. When you quit drinking, especially if you're hanging around people that drink, they're going to be like, what? You don't drink? Why? What's that about? Why are you doing that? That's crazy. How are you going to have any fun? And, you're going to be bored out of your mind and that kind of thing. And there's something in your mind that hears that and goes, yeah, So what happens is we start making excuses for why we don't drink. I'd rather hear people make excuses for why they do. That I can understand. I used to do it myself. Well, if you had the life I have, you'd drink like this too, The other thing that I heard was that they have drinkers in two categories. Those who are just beyond help. They're completely alcohol dependent, and, they're bums on the street. And then there's the rest of us. The ones who, every now and then might have a tad bit too much, but they're maintaining their lives. Yeah. I don't know if it's a life or just an existence, but I know for me, it got real ugly in the end. It got real ugly. And I had to stop. It was either stop or die. Yeah, that whole making excuses for why we don't drink, that's kind of silly. However, it is real. It is something we feel, especially in early sobriety, that when someone offers you a drink and you say no, you feel like there's a need to explain why. I was told that no is a complete sentence. No. Would you like a drink? No. I mean, what more is there to say than that? But that whole thought inside our head says, no, people need to hear more than that. So I can remember in early sobriety sitting around with some other newcomers, and we started coming up with comebacks for when someone offers us a drink, instead of just no. Things like, no thanks, I'm driving. Did that ever matter to me in the past? Not really. Or how about, no, I've got to get up in the morning. That never stopped me. The one that I think I liked the best was, no thanks, I've had enough already. That's no lie. I've had enough already. Probably the funniest one I've ever heard was, no thank you, I've got to be in Albuquerque by Tuesday. In other words, if I take a drink, there's no way I'm making it to Albuquerque by Tuesday. Oh, goodness. So anyway, beyond those excuses we come up with for not drinking, you know, the flip side of the coin was all those excuses we came up with for why we were drinking. You know, that self-justification, none of it ever made any sense. They were excuses, not reasons. I love being in recovery because I look at things from an honest point of view now. It's no longer, BSing myself into thinking that that's reality, when it's not. It just isn't. So today, if someone were to offer me a drink, a simple no thank you, that's all it takes. And in fact, the thank you is an add-on. It doesn't even need that. No. Just no. Because no is a complete sentence. Have you ever heard the expression, recover out loud? Well, that's kind of what I do. I recover out loud. You know, someone made a comment on my community page. He said, do you know what anonymity means? Well, yes, I do. Anonymity is important in that I don't say that I've seen you at a meeting. I don't say that you're an alcoholic or that you're in recovery, but I can say that I am. And I do that, obviously. I have a YouTube channel that's devoted to recovery. I recover out loud. I'm not ashamed of it. I don't make excuses for my sobriety. I'm proud of the fact that I've made a major comeback in life, man. I got sober, and you know what I found? Alcohol wasn't giving me any pleasure. It was robbing me of all of the pleasure of life. I love being sober. What a difference. Relationships, finances, spiritual connection, all of it has made such a wonderful change in my life, and I like to talk about it. So thank you for joining me. Thank you for listening. You guys stay happy, joyous, and free. And I'll see you on my next video.